Excellency, the Palestinian Ambassador to the United Kingdom, and my friend, Dr. Husam Zomlot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What a vibe. My very dear friend, First Minister John Sweeney, leaders and members of the Scottish National Party, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. What an honor to address this historic SNP conference in Aberdeen at such a defining moment in our shared history. First Minister John Sweeney, under your leadership, the SNP has stood firm in defending our shared values, the values of justice, equality, and freedom. You were among the very first to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. You were among the first to demand sanctions on the illegalities, and you were among the very first to call for and uphold our inalienable right to statehood and self-determination. And John, I want you to know how much we appreciated you traveling all the way to London. I didn't mean that. To take part in that historic event outside our mission, to mark the historic recognition, the long overdue recognition of the United Kingdom of the state of Palestine. And to me personally, it meant a lot that you were literally standing by my side as I put my hand on your shoulders, the shoulders of Scotland, to say thank you, Scotland, thank you, Wales, thank you, Northern Ireland, thank you, the people of Britain, for that moment. And I also know that you used the brief moments with President Trump here in Scotland to plead for a ceasefire, to convince him that the people of Scotland and the people of the world want his power to enforce a ceasefire. So you and Scotland has something to do with the last few days of finally, the world coming to its senses and bringing Netanyahu, the unhinged Netanyahu, to compliance. Thank you. And Stephen Flynn, my good friend, the leader of the SNP bloc at the Westminster. I hear that Westminster has a sigh of relief that you are in Aberdeen today. But you are, Stephen, such a powerful example of moral courage and convictions. And we appreciate all that you have done, your voice, your principled positions. Thank you for all that you have done. And I too want to honor former First Minister Hamza Youssef. and to his wife, Nadia, who this beautiful couple embodies the spirit, the strength, and the decency of the Scottish people. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 weeks ago, the United Kingdom recognized the State of Palestine, reversing more than a century of denial of our right to exist as a free and sovereign nation, with the same right to self-determination as any other people. Following this long overdue recognition, I stand before you today as the ambassador of the State of Palestine. And on behalf of that state, on behalf of the Palestinian leadership and people, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you. The Palestinian people will never forget how the people of Scotland stood by our side when it mattered the most. For generations, the Scottish and the Palestinian peoples have been bound by deep, deep ties, ties of friendship, of solidarity, and shared humanity. Scotland was the first to establish a city twinning between Dundee and Nablus. An enduring and enduring symbol of equality and a mutual respect. That twinship has shown the way forward. That inspired others all across the UK. I still remember arriving in the UK some years ago and having the privilege and looking to find a Scottish hero, the late Ernie Ross, the former Member of Parliament, for the tireless advocacy he's done and many around him have done for the twinship between Dundee and Nablus. Ernie is no longer with us, but his legacy endures, woven into the history of the Scottish-Palestinian solidarity. Friends, our relationship is not merely political. It is moral, human, and historic. Each of us sees our own strength reflected in the other. Together, we are one voice, one people, united in one cause, the pursuit of peace and justice. When the genocide raged in Gaza, you raised your voices to carry our pain. You brought our students to study here, our wounded to heal here. And you reminded us again and again that we were never alone, that our struggle was also yours, and that the struggle for freedom that all people and all nations cherish. My friends, this is Scotland. This is a nation of lions, roaring lions, a people of conscience, and a moral force for good. It is that why we love Scotland. Now, as we stand at the threshold of a ceasefire, of an end to the genocide in Gaza and the ongoing campaign of erasure in the occupied West Bank, we must take a moment to breathe, to grieve, and to process our immense sense of loss. And in that spirit, my friends, I humbly ask you, in honor of Hind Rajab and the 20,000 Palestinian children murdered by Israel, in honor of Dr. Adnan al-Borsh, the director of Al-Shifa Hospital, who was kidnapped, tortured, and killed in Israeli detention, along with hundreds of our Palestinian doctors and medical staff. And in honor of journalist Anas al-Sharif and the hundreds of Palestinian journalists who were targeted and murdered. And in honor of almost 250,000 Palestinians killed or maimed. I ask you to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Friends, Israel has banned international media from covering its genocide in Gaza for the last 2 years. But it failed to combat this genocide in darkness because of the heroism of our journalists and our people who documented and reported the atrocities. From here, from Aberdeen, from Scotland, I call on the UK and international media to defy Israel's ban. Go to Gaza, fulfill your obligation, honor your profession by reporting the truth. And my friends, now is the time to reflect on what we have achieved together and to prepare for the next phase of our common struggle. Because, my friends, while we have won some battles, our mission is far from over. We helped stop the bombs, yes, and you have helped stop the bombs, the starvation, the destruction of Gaza. Now, together, we must fight for liberation. Together, we must fight for the end of Israel's occupation. And there is no more powerful place to lead this global movement for Palestine than right here in Scotland and in the United Kingdom. It has been the Scottish and the British people, students and academics, trade unions and parliamentarians who have fueled the global movement for Palestine, just as you did in the struggle against apartheid South Africa. And it is there. By the way, the UK was the epicenter of the anti-apartheid movement, like Palestine now, like London is the epicenter of the global movement for the liberation of Palestine. And let me say this, like Nelson Mandela was freed, like South Africa was freed, Palestine will be freed. Because it is there in the streets of London, Manchester, Edinburgh, and Aberdeen, in Wembley Arena and the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall, in the halls of Westminster and Holyrood, sorry. I told them to underline the Holyrood. From Cardiff to Belfast, that the world has heard your voices, seen your actions, and followed your lead. You see what is happening worldwide. Some may now ask, but the genocide has ended. The guns are silent. Isn't the work done? No, my friends, it is not. Because our struggle has never been only about stopping the bombs. It is about ensuring the genocide never, ever happens again. It is about ending the occupation. It is about freedom. It is about the future of our children and yours. It is about peace, a just peace. So, my friends, the UK's historic recognition of the State of Palestine is not the destination. It is only the beginning. We must now build upon it strategically, relentlessly, to establish an independent, sovereign State of Palestine that can protect its people and thrive in peace. The world's conscience is awakening. The tide is shifting. Now is the moment to act, to raise the cost of occupation until it becomes not only unsustainable, but untenable. How do we do this? How do we do this? By imposing comprehensive sanctions on the entire system of the illegal colonial settlements and the state that harbors them. And by imposing a full arms embargo on a state that is committing genocide. By ending the illegal trade and investments, by banning settlement products, by isolating companies and individuals who profit from the illegalities, profit from the occupation, profit from the theft of our land and our resources. Those must be held accountable. And my friends, now is not the time to invest in war. This is the time to invest in peace. In peace. Sanctions are not punishment. They are a path to justice. Without the sanctions on the apartheid regime in South Africa, it would have never crumbled. And the people of South Africa would still remain under that regime of segregation and racism. Because injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Because as Nelson Mandela himself said, the freedom of South Africa is incomplete without the freedom of Palestine. And on our side, my friends, we are working to rebuild, to unify, and to prepare for a new era of peace and prosperity. Our guiding principles are clear. Gaza and the West Bank are inseparable. One territorial entity, inseparable parts of one Palestine with its ancient and eternal capital of Jerusalem. And let me make this absolutely clear. Palestine will only ever be governed by Palestinians. And only the Palestinian people will elect their leaders. This is why we have committed to holding national elections within 1 year of the end of the genocide. Ladies and gentlemen, this struggle is not only about the liberation of Palestine. It is about our collective liberation from oppression, from deception, from destruction everywhere, from dishonesty, from supremacy, from thinking that there is only one creed, one color that have more rights than others. There are no one group that are chosen. We are all chosen. Our struggle, your struggle, is about affirming the sanctity of every human life worth the world. And the life of our children is as precious as the life of any other. And as long as we stand united in truth and in justice, I know that we will prevail. We will prevail. Like all previous nations, like ours, with righteous causes, have prevailed. It's been long, a long, long march to freedom, but we are definitely on our way. We will see the roots of freedom flourish, not only in Palestine, but in every nation and in every heart that longs to be free. And we will celebrate. We will celebrate together, my friends. We will celebrate soon, sooner than you may expect. We will celebrate a free Palestine. Thank you.